So most people think I'm not good enough actually has to do with a lack of confidence. So if I have the confidence, then I'll ask the girl out. I'll take a chance on business. I'll go for that job. I'm not confident enough in going for, right? And it's actually got nothing to do with confidence. What it has to do with is a behavioral compensation for something deeper that hasn't been met at an unconscious level. So you have this open loop in your life which never gets met, right? That's why you always feel good enough, even when you do things like perform, you achieve success, you get recognition, you get love, right? All this is a compensation for something deeper you're not aware of. And so in this video, I'm going to show you and expose this illusion you're living, giving you the tools to break this pattern down and start to fill this unmet need for you. This isn't about fake positivity. It's not about affirmations. It's about giving you the tool set to do something about this and stop living in these loops. So what's really important to understand is that all beliefs have three parts. So if we look at this, number one, you have a cause, right? Something happens, which then causes an effect, right? The effect is a behavior and an emotion. Okay, so this person rejected me, right? I feel angry, I feel unloved. And then we have the meaning, right? So the meaning, if my pen works, in this case, we're talking about I'm not good enough, right? Is the meaning. So this is how a belief is structured, right? Cause, effect, and meaning. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at this and understand how we can actually start to deal with the effect and the meaning and also the cause, and right, and creating a different perception about what's happened in our life. So a couple things I want you to do is when we're talking about good enough or not good enough in this case, is we want to start to ask some questions around this, okay? So number one, good enough for what? Like, what is it specifically that we're talking about here? Is it success? Is it relationships? Is it health? What is it? Money? Right? So specifically, what's the problem? Well, it's I can't seem to succeed in what I want to do, right? And you're not good enough according to who? Like, who standard are we actually looking at here? Where did this originate? We want to look at things like this as well. So what specifically has to happen for you to feel good enough? What's the actual recipe for you? Often people, it's very vague, right? Well, like if I, do really good at my job, like, what do you mean? Like, good, what's good? Well, if I make, a lot of money, how much? So you're telling me if you're $1 under, you fail, you're not good enough, and $1 over, you're good? How does that work? So who did you learn this off? What happened that made you believe this about yourself in your life? So notice as we start to ask questions, things start to begin to get shakier, right? So a belief is all about certainty, right? So the reason why you believe this so much is because you're absolutely certain this is true. But as we start to dig deeper, we realize, you know what? Actually, maybe this isn't so true. So your brain's actually taken events of your past and turned them into your identity, right? Behavior does not have to equal your identity. But what you've done is you've linked the two together, right? So, for example, if you failed at something, does that mean you're a failure? Imagine looking at things like this. Failure and success are the same thing, just two different sides of which is what? Growth. So what if success and failure could have a positive actual meaning? So if we take failure, how do you succeed without failing? Do you know anyone that's just succeeded straight away? They never had to learn anything. They never had to grow. They just succeeded. No, that doesn't exist. right? So you see how I'm looking and I'm challenging the perspective that people have about, oh, I feel like I'm a failure, right? What if success and failure were just the same thing, right? There was a famous coach I followed in Australia, right, in the footy, and the team that he was coaching, it was a big game. They lost like by a lot, and the press, they're into him, and they asked him a question, and he said, "You know what? We'll learn more from that failure than we would have if we'd won." Like, what a way to just see something completely different. If you can learn from your failures, they can actually lead you to success, which leads you to what? Growth. What does growth lead you to? Impact, to give, to serve, right? So if we can see these things more holistically versus and or black, white, okay, you can do a lot for yourself to start to think in a healthier way. So we want to understand that this isn't 100% true, right? I'm not good enough. So we want to start to break this down and ultimately destroy these identity conclusions, right? So we understand this. Your brain, when it has a belief like this, is it deletes, distorts, and generalizes your reality to make that true about who you are. That's why it feels so true, okay? That's your job of your brain, your mind. It cherry picks evidence to show that that's true about you, okay? Because once upon a time, that had a purpose. It had an intention to protect you, which leads me to the next thing, right? Is that all behavior has a positive intent. Now, let me clarify. What I'm saying is I'm not telling you that the behavior of someone else is excusable. I'm saying that there's a positive intent behind it. So let's talk about it. Let's say someone reacted very angrily to you. All right. Are they always like this towards you? Probably not. So what's maybe behind that? What's the positive intent? Maybe they were very stressed, so they wanted control and peace, right? Maybe they're going through a divorce. Maybe they're going through money problems. Maybe they're going through health challenges, family challenges, right? There could be a numerous amount of things versus they're just angry at you. You were just the target to help them become that outlet. I remember reading a book years ago, and I remember this example. It really made a profound impact on me. Is this person was observing the receptionist at this hotel, and this lady was there, and she was just giving it to him, right? Really upset about everything that was going on. And the receptionist was just cool, calm. Hey, I understand that wasn't what we were trying to do. How can I help you make this better? Like handling it really well. And anyway, she left in a storm, and the gentleman went up to the receptionist and said, I've never seen someone take so much punishment before and be so cool, calm, and collected. And said, what's, how did you do that? And he said, you never know what people are going through. I just thought I'd give her the benefit of the doubt. She's probably got some issues, perhaps in her family, in her marriage, in her business, whatever it is, and it's not me she's angry at. So, what a beautiful perspective. So if we can start to look at the positive intent behind people's behavior, we may start to have more compassion. And if we get more compassion towards people, right, we can start to be a little more flexible in what we make things mean, right? So really key thing that we want to understand. So let's keep going, and I'll give you a couple tools here. If you're liking this, I run a Pattern Break Live. That is a live session where I work with high achievers, right, on these type of patterns, and I break them live. You can register in the link below, and if you want to skip the line, just work with me one-on-one. I work with people for one flat fee, right, to solve one problem, right? That may take a session, it may take two, it may take three, whatever it is we aim to solve the problem, okay? So back to this. We've got to understand that there's a core need that's underneath all of this, right? So when we're talking about I'm not good enough, what is it that you're compensating for, right? Is Are you trying to get love by performing? Are you trying to get acceptance by achieving? Are you trying to feel safe by being perfect so you don't get rejected, right? What is that need deep down that you actually are looking for that didn't get met? Right? Is it to do with growth, recognition, love, being seen, being heard? Right? What is that need that's wounded? You weren't fulfilled. So this is the compensating identity conclusion, right? I'm not good enough. So you compensate by being perfect, by being an achiever, by chasing significance from others. Okay? So a key thing to understand about beliefs and behavior is that we need to understand that if something is external, meaning I need X person to do this so I feel significant. So let me give you an example. I had a client that messaged me, right? This is a few weeks after the session. And I ask all my clients to do this just so they can reflect and see what's changed. So I want you to really lock into this. The memory in the session, right? This is their reflection. The memory that came up was, right, the cause, calling my dad when I was genuinely excited. I was making a solid 6-figure income, had no debt. I was investing, literally doing everything he told me, and he didn't even congratulate me. He was so consumed in his own life that it barely registered. That really hurt me more than I admitted. Right, now we're getting into the pattern. I saw a pattern I hadn't been willing to look at. I've been seeking friendships where I add value, right? The behavior, the compensation, and what was the need? I'm quietly hoping for praise in return. So a part of me hated it. Another part of me felt important, right? The conflict was really brutal. I was needed and that made me feel important. The real mind F is that I feel deeply important in my work and don't need the praise at all. So why am I trying to fix people in my personal life? So we can see we started to dig into this and these realities are clashing. Why do I feel important at work, but I don't need the praise? And then why am I doing this, right? I'm trying to be important in my personal life, but it's really going south. So this led back to a childhood memory, right? Where did we learn this? Where did we make these decisions? I fixed a wheel on a bike he couldn't fix, and instead of him being proud, he was annoyed. Then you said, so for me, I was like, okay, I clicked. So you're fixing everyone's wheel, waiting for the praise you never got from your dad. And this is what cracked that whole reality. So to get to the bottom of this is, and now I genuinely can't see how I could stay angry at people I once felt were using me. The real shift is that I can finally see I'm important without having to add value. So this is a critical thing. I've talked about how behavior and identity is what you've linked together to create the meaning, right? I add value, that means I'm important. This is the key. I just am. It feels almost silly realizing how long I believed I needed to do something to be important. Such a massive shift. Thank you. So really the ultimate goal here is you don't want to become good enough, right? Like that's the same problem, different side of the coin. You're still having a hierarchy of conditions to become good enough. You just want to be, I am. Just am. You don't even know why, how, you just am. This is a couple things you can do, right? Go through those questions I talked about. And once you've got that need, right, whatever it was, feeling safe, feeling significant, feeling loved, whatever that core need was that's not fulfilled, what I want you to do is this. What is the emotion that when you feel this, right, let's say it's seen, when you feel seen, what do you feel is the emotion? Love, joy, peace, whatever that is. Find the time you were most seen in your life. And I want you to flick through all those experiences of when you were most seen. Okay? And if that's hard, use the emotion. So what emotion was generated? So find a song that gets you amped up, whatever that song relates for you. And I want you to feel the emotions of whatever it was, love, joy, and peace. I want you to start to give this to yourself so that you take control back instead of living life externally driven, waiting for others to give this to you, which never satisfies. I want you to start to do it for yourself. Okay? If you want me to break this pattern, come to our Pattern Break Live. It's where I break the number one self-sabotaging pattern for high achievers. Link in the description. If you want to skip the line, work with me one-on-one, the more comprehensive, of course, link below.